The Urbanist is brought to you in association with the Department of Culture and Tourism, Abu Dhabi. Saadiyat Cultural District Abu Dhabi is a beacon of hope and inspiration. A catalyst to spark growth and collaboration with museums and experiences, where art and science and nature and technology coexist.
The belief of Abu Dhabi that culture is the backbone of our society.
Stay tuned for a special episode of the show, in which you can hear His Excellency Mohammed Khalifa Al Mubarak explain exactly why and how Saadiyat Cultural District Abu Dhabi is the perfect place to collaborate, create and innovate. Saadiyat Cultural District Abu Dhabi, proud partner of The Urbanist on Monocle Radio.
City dwellers will use anything as a landmark, whether meeting at the Blue Door, the tallest tree, or the third dumpster on the left. The urban landscape offers up many examples of eye-catching muster points. In Rio, dotted along the famous beaches, its numbered lifeguard stations serve as these recognisable places to rally. You're listening to Tall Stories, a Monocle production brought to you by the team behind The Urbanist. I'm Andrew Tuck. In this episode, Tomás Pinheiro looks at a few of Rio's postos to see the different communities that have come to gather around them.
In Rio, lifeguard stations take on a whole other meaning. Beyond their essential role, these structures act as useful landmarks for people to navigate their lives along the beach. Cariocas just call them postos, or postos in Portuguese, drawing out the word with their melodic accent. There are 25 postos along Rio's shores, nestled on the promenade between the cycling path and the sand. Standing guard over the coast, they collectively span nearly half the city's shoreline, covering some 32 kilometers. Minimalist and whitewashed, they blend into the scenery, giving the impression they've always been there, much like the ancient granite rocks that divide the city and its neighborhoods. But they haven't. The first postos appeared in the 1910s as beachgoing gained momentum as a leisurely pastime. True to their name, they were single tall posts supporting a small platform. A picture from that time captures one of these originals in Copacabana, when the beachfront was still a simple road dotted only with scattered villas. A lone lifeguard stands on the platform, scanning the beach with binoculars under an umbrella. Back then, these postos were as much a novelty on the beach as the black and white wave-patterned pavement that has become its symbol. In the 30s, the postos evolved to more elaborate edifices in curved Bauhaus fashion, featuring 2 upper levels with railed platforms and a small booth below. It was in the 70s, though, that they took their current form, clad in concrete and resembling the keel of a boat, a design by celebrated architect Sérgio Bernardes. Keeping their 3-story plan, they gained public restrooms and showers on the ground floor, an area for rescue equipment on the first level, and a water reservoir on top. Beachgoers from that decade will recall the 4 rounded fixtures on the beach-facing side, a touch of space-age aesthetic that served double duty as speakers and spotlights. Another feature from the past was the foot wash area, a convenient spot to rinse off sand before heading back into the city streets. This might be surprising even for Cariocas, but Bernardes' design originally envisioned covering the structure with mirrored stainless steel sheets to reflect the landscape rather than disrupt it. However, this idea never came to be. Still, there was another special addition to the facades in the 70s. Each posto began to prominently display its number in large, bold lettering following a sequence. Besides some updates to the fonts and other additions like an anti-graffiti railing, the appearance of Rio's postos remained largely unchanged, with the numerical pattern becoming ingrained in the everyday speech of locals. Posto 1 is at Leme, and the numbers increase all the way to Posto 13 at São Conrado Beach. The count starts again at 1 in Barra da Tijuca, continuing along the Long Beach stretch until Posto 12, the last one at Pontal Península in Recreio. Cariocas use these postos as reference points for everything they can. The new boteco that opened at Vinícius de Moraes Street, it's at Posto 9, despite being 3 blocks away from the shore. If something's in the middle between two postos, Cariocas might call it posto and a half. For example, someone might say, I go to the beach at posto 10 and a half. Or, for more specific locations, they might add almost to a posto number, as in, she lives almost at posto 9. It's like a Carioca coordinate system. Despite their uneven distribution, with some spaced a kilometer apart and others 500 or 700 meters, postos have also been embraced as an informal unit of measurement for distance. When I lived in Rio, I used to jog from posto 11 to posto 7 and back, covering roughly 6 kilometers. That's easy. In contrast, beach vendors who also define their sales range by postos face a far more grueling task. They can track, for instance, from posto 5 to 4, but back and forth under the blazing sun and carrying heavy loads on their backs, often tallying upwards of 10 kilometers daily. While the sands are the domain of beach vendors, the promenades are lined with over 300 kiosks that emerged in the 90s to sell refreshments such as fresh coconut or cold chopp, Brazil's typical draft beer. These kiosks are spread strategically between postos to offer a break from the sun and are the only other built structures sharing the space. But the most important of the added functions of postos is serving as meeting points for the different crowds flocking to the beach. It goes a bit like this. Fishermen dock their boats at Posto 6 in Copacabana. Surfers catch their waves at number 7 in Arpoador or by Posto 1, the one at Barra. The LGBTQ+ crowd gathers at Posto 8 in Ipanema. Posto 9 is where you go to see and be seen. Posto 12 in Leblon is for families with younger kids. It has a playground right on the sand. In Rio, on the beach at least, everyone gets a place in the sun. In recent years, the city has been testing new lifeguard stations, placing them on the sand closer to the water. These are brightly painted light wood structures in Baywatch style. And while some people think they ruin the beach views, others see them as an extra Instagrammable touch to the scenery. As for me, the classic postos of Rio are still my favorite. Those seemingly timeless structures that have become part of the Carioca lifestyle, just like the beach itself.
Tall Stories is a Monocle production from the team behind The Urbanist. This episode was written by Tomás Pinheiro and produced and edited by David Stevens. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast to receive new episodes every week. I'm Andrew Tuck. Goodbye, and thank you for listening, City Lovers.